Hello everyone, and thank you very much for tuning into my channel. About 2 months ago I made a video about out of stamina throw punishes for all heroes. I got a lot of suggestions from you guys, so I made an updated version with the improved punishes that was suggested to me by the community. And wouldn't you know it, I got a lot of suggestions on that video as well. I want to say thank you very much to everyone who takes their time to leave comments and come with new suggestions. These are very interesting and I find them helpful as well, and I'm sure other people in the community are as grateful as I am. So this video is gonna test these suggestions. This video will not cover the out of stamina punishes for all heroes, it will only test the suggestions made to me in my previous video. But if you're interested in some good ideas, then here we go. So let's start with the Warden. Now, both Newblade JR and Mighty Madman 90 suggest that you do a zone attack to a delayed top heavy in order to get an execution. I tested it out and it totally works. And as Matt points out, don't forget to delay the zone attack on out of stamina parries. In my previous video I suggested doing a top light to any heavy. Justin Train points out that you can do a top light and then delay a top heavy, which you can then follow up with a top heavy unblockable. That is totally true. It might be unsafe though, I'm not completely sure, but it does work and it adds some pressure to the opponent. And finally, both Martin Hannock and Joe McBob suggest basically the same thing. And that is to use the unblockable top heavy to bait another out of stamina throw or an out of stamina parry. And this just happens to work very well with the previous suggestions, so you can actually do a very large 115 damage combo. Just be aware that it is not entirely guaranteed, and it is very likely that you don't have enough stamina to do this. And the next hero that I got some suggestions for is the Conqueror. And we begin with Zeldog Vlogs. He mentions that you can just do a good old-fashioned charge top heavy. And that is also true, it deals slightly less damage than 2 top heavy attacks. But the advantage is that you can get an execution. And Sacha Riz suggests that you can follow up the 2 heavy attacks with a shield bash, and that is a really good follow up. It's not guaranteed though, it can actually be dodged, but I'm pretty sure most people are not always gonna see this one coming, so that is also a possibility. And the next hero on the list is a recently reworked Lawbringer. And the first suggestion is by the God of Death 2-3. He mentions an out of stamina punish if you are both out of stamina. And that is something I haven't covered before, so let's look into this. It only works if you are already in top guard, throw forward and do a top light and then top heavy. Remember that this must be as fast as absolute possible. Next up, QLMX had a very nice suggestion. There's actually a mechanic here that I didn't know existed. So what you do is you throw the opponent, then you initiate the heavy attack and immediately hold down backwards and guard break. When the Lawbringer is done with the heavy attack, he's gonna go straight into the long arm. And for some reason that is actually guaranteed. This means that you can get a long arm after doing a heavy attack. But for some reason it doesn't work every single time. I'm not sure why, but it is definitely guaranteed sometimes. The next suggestion is by Bthor Gaming and Luxbeck666. And that is to do the double heavy attack, last one being top, and then feint the last heavy attack so you can then get maybe another guard break or an out of stamina parry. This is not guaranteed though, but still a good combo. And we have another combo suggestion from Enderslayer47. And that is to do the 2 heavy attacks, then do a shove to light attack and then do a guard break to side heavy. The shove is not guaranteed, but it can hit because the opponent is stunned. Max Fullerton also has a combo, and that is basically the same, but after the shove and top light you do a heavy which you feint into a parry, and then you can do a delayed light attack to top heavy for an incredible 135 damage. And so we move on to the next hero, which is the Centurion. And the first suggestion is by Warmo. That is to knock twice, throw backwards, do a delayed kick to charge heavy to charge bash to equals talents. And all this is absolutely guaranteed, but there's still a level of timing involved in the kick. It's easier to do than to do a light attack, but still you have to time it a little bit. But there is an easier way to do this combo, and that has been suggested by Omega Warrior, SSJ Sean, Kiro Mastikata and Victor Plancarte. And that is to knock twice, throw backwards, do a backstep light attack to charge heavy, charge bash equals talents. And this requires no timing at all, so it is very easy to pull off. Or like Jenj Hardin points out, you can do the exact same thing, but you just throw sideways. And finally, aka Ghosty had a very nice combo which does not require the opponent to be out of stamina. And that is kick, light attack, charged heavy, soft feint into guard break, into knock twice, throw into wall, charge heavy, charge bash, light attack which must miss, then charged heavy into charge bash into eagle's talents. And that is a pretty cool combo. Unfortunately, the second charged heavy pin is not guaranteed and can be parried or dodged, but it's still a very nice combo. Our next hero on the list is the Raider. And this is going to be a short chapter. I got a good suggestion from Tongzi, Dominus and Aidan Warden. And all of them suggest doing a controlled throw into the wall. Afterwards you do a side heavy to top heavy and then you continue your chain. And next up on our list we have the Warlord. I got a similar suggestion from Jeff Martin and Salah Yusuf, and both of them say that if you are on side guard and you therefore cannot do the top guard punish, you then instead do a side light to side heavy at 53 damage. I can confirm that this works, and actually now you can throw in any direction that you want even. So thank you very much for that one. And now let's move on to the Highlander. As you know, if you are on left guard, your regular maximum punish won't work, so Cosmo points out that you can unlock and do a light heavy, and that's gonna connect. And actually I do remember this one, I'm pretty sure it used to be a thing also, but I just tested it out and it doesn't seem to work anymore. But still, thank you very much for pointing it out, and if I'm doing something wrong here, you're also very welcome to let me know how to do it properly. So thank you still anyway, and let's move on. And next up we have Kensei. God of Salt, Loki and Cred Vortex all suggest an alternative to the maximum punish which deals only 2 less damage. And that is on forward throws to do a delayed top light to top heavy. This is good because it's safe, and as Loki points out, you can go straight into your unblockable finisher. The delay has to be very short, and you know you did it right if you don't light up. And that covers the Kensei. So now we move on to the Nobushi. Raider points out that if you throw the opponent into a corner, you can do a double top heavy followed by a kick followed by another heavy. And this crazy combo deals 109 damage. I did found that on some occasion the bot was able to dodge this, but it was not every time. So just to cover absolutely everything, if the opponent was bleeding when you do this, you deal more damage, so then it's 132 damage. And I thought, just to cover absolutely everything, if the opponent is bleeding and you're in revenge mode, this sick combo is dealing 143 damage. So that was pretty good. Thank you very much for that, Raider. And now on to the Shinobi. And Venarius has a very nice ultimate combo suggestion. So that is to do a zone attack, feint the second half, guard break, do heavy, top heavy and then light. So this is going to deal a total of 93 damage. Of course the guard break is not guaranteed, but it's so fast that you might just get it anyway. So thank you for that one, and now let's move on to Aramusha. In my original video I mentioned that the maximum punish is side light, side heavy, but this only works if you are already in side guard. But the Gold Wolf and Warden both point out that you can still do this from top guard if you unlock first. So thank you very much guys, that 5 damage means a lot in the grand scheme, so that is very helpful. And next up we have a combo suggestion from Justin Gonzalez. So what you do is dash forward top heavy, feint a side heavy, do a blockade, kick into wall and then light spam. But yeah, you can also argue that maybe an out of stamina parry would be better. But I see this working even if the opponent is not out of stamina, so still pretty good. Thank you very much for that one. And now on to the newest hero added to the game, Hitokiri. And I got a very good suggestion from Mr. Vago Maestro, I'm Jewel, QLMX, Elia Rodriguez and the Eclipse 24. And that is, instead of doing 2 heavies, then do a light attack to charged heavy. This deals 2 less damage than a double heavy attack, but it allows for an execution if your opponent's health was low enough. Are you entertained? Suggest doing a double heavy attack followed by a charge heavy which you feint and then bait an out of stamina parry and do another 2 heavy attacks. So I totally see this one working, that is a very good suggestion. And finally, Spicy Boy Max points out that you can get 2 heavies followed by a kick followed by another heavy, and surprisingly that totally works. Of course it's gonna fail if the opponent dodges backwards, but in most occasions it will actually hit, so thank you very much for that one. And with that out of the way, we move on to the Ulen faction, and we begin with the Tiandi. The Destroyer has an alternative to the light heavy combo, and that is to do top heavy, any light. That is 3 less damage, but it still totally works. And the next hero from Ulen faction is Jiangjun. The guy in the suit asks if the maximum punish on a choke is the same as the throw punish on side guard, and it is, as he points out, zone attack to top heavy, and the choke no longer deals 5 damage. But now let's move on to the next hero, which is Nuxia. And in my original video I suggested to do a light heavy light for 59 damage. But Funbomb 2001 asks if you can get a double light into a side heavy which gonna throw into a wall, but actually if you just throw in general they're gonna just get knocked down. So I really love this combo and it's totally fun, but unfortunately the heavy can be blocked. Now next up, Irelix suggests doing a light heavy trap at 73 damage, and that is totally the right number, and of course the trap is not guaranteed, but it is actually likely to work, so that is a very good one, thank you very much for that. And now finally it is time for the last hero, the Shaolin. In my last video I had an insane 58 damage combo which is very difficult to pull off, but luckily Lurop02 and Born Chupacabra both suggested a much easier combo. Light heavy light at 49 damage. Direction doesn't even matter, so this is very easy. Or as Gian Lucas Ducat suggests, just throw them off ledges, that is an instant kill. Now that is a lot of damage. So, thank you very much for watching until now. If you have any more suggestions, not necessarily for this, but even for combos or anything else, I'm all ears. I may make another video like this in the future if there is a demand for it. So, thank you very much again, and I hope you have a great day. See you around, guys.